Good morning and welcome to BOTB HQ in Parsons Green, South West London. My name is Christian Williams, a presenter here at BOTB. And we're here this morning to judge the latest Dream Car competition, which ran from the 29th of June to the 5th of July 2020. And just before I hand over to Robin, once again, a huge congratulations to last week's Dream Car winner, Danielle Clark, winning the amazing BMW M8 competition and £20,000 in cash. I'm now going to pass over to Robin Cumming from Onside Law, who will oversee the proceedings this morning.
Thanks, Christian. My name is Robin Cumming from Onside Law, and I'll be overseeing the judging this morning. Firstly, I confirm that the competition data has already been sent to the auditors Wilkins Kennedy. I would now like to introduce today's judges. First up, it's Matt Cannon.
Good morning, my name is Matt Cannon. I'm a senior county referee and footballer and really looking forward to playing.
Thanks, Matt. If you can now use the secure link provided and mark on the screen where you think the centre of the ball should be, and we'll then come back to you at the end for you to justify your position and for a final panel decision. Next up, it's Peter Georgiou.
Good morning, my name's Peter Georgiou. I am a football and futsal referee.
Next, it's Ari Mendonca.
Hi, my name is Ari Mendonca. I've been involved in football for over 30 years, first as a player and then as a referee.
Next up, it's Kieran Fitzgibbon.
Hi, my name is Kieran Fitzgibbon. I play football for more than 30 years and now a senior county referee.
Next up, it's Raphael Headlam.
Good morning, my name is Raphael Headlam. I am a qualified football referee. I'm refereeing since the age of 14. I currently referee within the Arthurian Football Association and also the Harrow Sunday Challenge League.
And finally, Nigel Hicks.
My name is Nigel Hicks. I've been a Supply League referee for best part of 30 years, and I'm also an experienced FA administrator.
Matt, could you please justify your position?
Thanks, Robin. There's three players in shot that we can see the heads of, and another player to the left where we just got this sort of his left shoulder. I think all three of them, we've got two eyes in each player's from their vision, from their heads, that looking up towards the ball. I believe that the player on the far right of the picture, as we're looking at it, he's got his knee up and his arms are up, and I think he's just about to come in and power a header away. His mouth's open and he's very concentrated on the ball. The two other players that we can see, the one where we can just see the head, he looks like he's just looking up at the ball and sort of been sandwiched between the two players in red. I don't know what, I'm assuming he's a blue player, but he could be a red player. And the player on the left, I think he's looking up again, possibly as a defender, to come in and sort of jump up, head it and flick the ball away from people behind. And I've cross-referenced the six eyes, and I've put the centre of the ball where my red cross is.
Great, thanks, Matt. Next up, Peter, please could you justify your position?
Yes, mine is the green cross. I'm in agreement with Matt there that the player in red to the right, as you look at the screen, is favourite for the ball. He's rising. He's going to power this ball away. His knees raised, his arms are ready to launch himself into the ball. So yes, favourite for the ball. The other players, the other player in red, just looking at the ball there. The player in between the two red players, again, just looking at the ball, trying to get involved. But I think the player in the red to the left is shoving him out the way. And the player in blue to the far left is involved. Looks like he's rising to the ball. He's missed the ball, or he's just done something to it. So what I've done is I've used the eye lines of the three players the two red ones and an eye in between directly. And when I've crossed their eye lines, I've got my green cross as the centre of the ball. And I do believe it's coming from a corner.
Great, thanks, Peter. Ari, please could you justify your position?
Yes, my cross is the blue over there. Well, we have a few players in this shot. I could only take good information about two players over here. This player in red in the middle and the one on the far right. I felt that the player in red in the middle, he just lost the challenge over here. Player in sky blue, he's already in the air, but the ball, I felt it just passed. He's just passed above his head, and player in red in the middle is looking towards the ball, slightly to his right above his head. Player on the far right we can clearly see that he's building momentum. He's on a rise to jump to head this ball, but the ball is still a bit far away from him. I took advantage of the six pair of eyes over here and decided that the center of the ball should be where I put my cross.
Thanks, Ari. Kieran, please could you justify your position?
Yes, thank you. I've looked at the situation as sort of a corner coming in. I agree with most of the players. The player on the far side, red, is in midair. I think he's about to head the ball. I think he's running in at pace towards the ball. That's why his knees in front of him, his arms are out in front, and he's focused on the ball. I've taken the eye lines from the three heads that we've got in shot to get the ball, but I think the ball is coming flat trajectory at pace from a corner. I think the three players on the left of the shot, so the player in blue that we can't see the head of, and the other two players are close to the goal line, and they're sort of coming a little bit outwards to sort of try and meet the ball, whereas the player in red on the right is actually coming in at a different angle to play the ball. And I took the eye lines from the three players who can see. I think the ball's a little bit lower than my colleagues, and I think he's about to power the header in towards the goal. That's why I placed my cross there.
Thanks, Kieran. Next up, Raphael, please could you justify your position?
Yeah, good morning. So like most people said, there's three players, six different eyes that we can take to cross-reference where this ball is. I believe player in red on the far right of the picture is running forwards towards the head of the ball. He's got his arms up, he's got his knee up, he's got his mouth open, he's putting a name on it. I think that he's favourite to head this ball. I think there's a player in the middle who has who sort of a step behind, a step off, challenging for the ball. So at the moment, he's just got eyes on it, looking to see what could happen if it could drop possibly towards him. You have a player on the left in red on the left of the picture who I think he's challenged the player in blue, whose shoulder you can see. The ball's just gone over the player in blue, and the player in red has just sort of put his body there to try and put that player in blue off its jump. So I think all six eyes are on the ball. They're all looking at where the ball's going to go and how they can play the ball. And it's cross-referencing all six eyes. I just put my cross where I put it.
Thanks, Raphael. Finally, Nigel, please could you justify your position?
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Well, as most of my colleagues have already said, I think clearly the player at the right of the picture is the one who's about to meet the ball and attack it. I think he's looking straight through the back of the ball, and he's watching it come onto his head. Clearly from his expression and the tension in his body, he's the one who's about to attack that ball and strike it away. The two players at the lower of the picture, I think, as someone's already said, I think the player in red looks like he's mainly trying to put off the player in blue. I think he's probably looking at the underside of the ball. I think this, I think he's probably looking at it as it's passing over him. So he's looking up and slightly to his right. I think the player behind him, who could be blue or red, he's not jumping for the ball, but he again is watching the underside of that ball as it comes in. I do think the player who's attacking the ball is looking slightly up, although his face is horizontal. It's pretty much at 90 degrees. I think we can see using a magnifier, we can see the bottom of his eyes. So I think he's looking slightly up at that ball, and that's because he's looking, watching it come onto his forehead. So I placed my cross, the purple cross. It's above the goalpost and slightly in line with the roof, and that's where I think centre of the ball is.
Thanks, judges. Matt, as the main judge, could you now come to a panel decision with the 5 other judges? And for your reference, the larger white cross is the calculated average of the 6 individual selections.
Okay, morning guys. Good discussion. I'll draw lines in from each player. We've got quite a narrow spread from this player, and I believe the same with this player here in the middle. And I'll use a different colour for this player over here. That's the one where we've got a bit of a wider spread, with Kieran being lower. As I said, I thought, as we all did, that this player, well, all of us, I think, were saying that this player in red on the right of the shot is going to come in and power the header. The ball's obviously, I think, out away from the post, and I think someone did say that this player on the right is a bit further forward from the players behind. I also think it's important that what Nigel said, that this player, you can see, and I agree with him, a little bit of the white of his eye. And so I couldn't see how Kieran's choice, to my mind, made it a little bit low. But I'd welcome obviously your thoughts on that, seeing with the lines drawn in. And I'll also, before we have a discussion, if I take Kieran out, I think the average moves into the middle of the other 5 choices. But anyway, so Nigel, as you pointed out, this player, I think we can just see slightly under his eyes, and I was of the same opinion as you. He was looking slightly higher. Anything further to add to that?
Not really. I mean, I do think. I mean, I think, as you say, he's slightly nearer to us, and I think also the ball in this picture is probably quite large, so difficult to judge the centre of it, because I think the players aren't. All of the players are not necessarily looking at the centre of the ball. They're looking at the part of it that they can see. So the 2 players below are looking at the underneath of it as it passes over them. Yeah. Whereas, I think the player at the back's looking straight down the barrel.
Yeah.
Okay. But like you, I'm struggling to see a bit that it's such a, also with the flight of the ball, for it to be coming in at a lower angle, it would almost have to be on a horizontal trajectory. Yeah, I think it's probably dropping slightly.
Yeah, and I thought that, looking at the picture, I thought with the player in blue, in sky blue, I think, as Ari said, he looks like he's off the ground as well. And I think if that trajectory had taken it, it takes it sort of through his head, which again was another reason that I thought it was sort of coming in at an angle from a corner. And Ari, you're at the bottom near myself and Peter.
I'm exactly the same opinion as you, because if the ball was in the position where Kieran put his center of the ball, I felt that the player in blue would be able to catch and add the ball in some way. Yes, I felt that the ball is slightly higher. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And Peter, you're just with Ari, just a little bit to the left of Ari and myself.
I've gone with that trajectory, not as low as Kieran's, only because of the fact of the blue player, how high I think he is in his head, and if it was, it would have been in the way, and hence why I've gone slightly higher than Kieran's.
Yeah, and Raphael, you're on the sort of same sort of height line as Nigel. Again, are you thinking that, again, the ball is coming in across sort of from a corner?
Yeah, so I think it's coming in from a corner, just from the position of the players. And I think it is dropping from a slightly higher angle down towards the player in red. I think for me, it was just the cross references of all the eyes, to be honest. I think if you could argue if the player in blue's mistimed his jump, it's feasible for the ball to be that low, especially with the arm in his back. You could argue that he could have mistimed his jump and missed the ball completely. But for me, I think it's just I think it's a little bit higher than Kieran's cross.
Yeah, and Kieran, I've obviously left you to last. Judging by what the other judges have said, and looking at this player's eyes and things, could we just hear some more from yourself?
Well, I don't see that the player in red is not looking at the angle that I've got him at. I think the player in red is looking a little flatter than the higher ones for sure. I think those are too high. I think if it's coming in from a corner, it's obviously got to come in at some kind of pace. Either that's or it's dropping in. I don't think the ball's dropping in. I do think the two players, the player in blue that we can't see the head of and the player in red, are coming out slightly away from the goal. So I think it's a different angle the player in red's coming. I still believe it's at a flatter trajectory, and the way he's up in the air, it means he's close to the ball. If the ball was coming in at a higher trajectory and dropping in, then I don't think he'd be attacking the ball in that way. He's coming in, flying into the ball, and he's almost ready, as somebody said, with his mouth open and his face and hands in position to actually head the ball. So I don't see it being the two higher crosses up there, because I don't think it would come in at that pace. But I can see where everybody else seems to. I can understand the player in blue. If the player in blue has jumped for the ball, then yes, clearly the ball would be a bit higher than that. But I think it's coming at a slightly different angle, which is why I.
No, okay, understand. Thank you for that. So what I think, if we look at the average now with Kieran in, obviously it's near where Peter, Ari and myself are, but it's quite a lot lower than both Raphael and Nigel. Just take
Matt,
Kieran out.
Just coming in on that, with Kieran's discussion there. If you look at that picture, it's on one plane as such. So Kieran was saying that the player in blue is deeper towards the goal line than the players especially the player on the right. So I can understand it may not even be going over his head; it may be going in front of him. So therefore, the trajectory could be justified if you look at the picture more deeply. So with Kieran's discussion now, I can see where he's coming from.
Yeah.
See, also the player in red who's on the ground, the one nearest the goal, looks like he's coming away from the goal. He's looking slightly in front, sort of away from the goal of the ball, which was my other reason for thinking it's coming that direction.
Yeah,
I mean, the body language and the angle for me, I mean, I just think the red players are defenders, because they're looking to head the ball away from the goal. And I think most of us agree that it's a corner of some sort coming in. I suppose it could be a free kick from an out.
A crossing or something. Yeah.
But as I said, if I take Kieran out, it moves the average into the middle of basically the five of us. I'm not that unhappy with it going slightly higher up. My concern is with Kieran being so far away, the average then drops too low, and
the issue is that they're all actually feasible. That's the problem, right? They're all the positions, like even the average positions, both of them are actually really feasible, and you're not moving them that much by taking Kieran out or keeping Kieran in.
Well, I mean, I think it moves it enough. I mean, one of the things, sorry, missed the spot. I mean, I think that as a panel decision, and I think that's very important to note, that we have to be happy with where the average ends up if we choose the average and we move someone. I think in this situation, leaving all of us in and then manually moving the judgment, just don't think that works. That's sort of, so I think I'd like to take a panel vote, as we've done before, whether to keep Kieran in or not. And as I said, I think Kieran is too low. I think this player on the right isn't looking that that horizontally, I think
Oh,
it's
yeah.
out a little bit.
I agree with that as well.
Okay, so Peter.
It does look slightly better with Kieran out, but I can understand where that is and where the average is at the moment. But yeah, if it brings more people within a smaller zone, yes, I think Kieran needs to.
Yeah, and I'd echo that. I think this is not about saying Kieran's right or wrong. It's just about making a panel decision to get the ball or the centre of the ball in the best position for all our judgments. So thanks for that, Peter. Ari, I think you've said to keep Kieran out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Raphael, you said.
I think for the purpose of the judging, with the ball sort of encompassing all of the other 5 crosses, I'd take him out. But I think they're feasible either way, to be honest.
Oh no, I agree. And Nigel?
Yeah, I agree the same. I think but either fire.
Yeah. I mean, I'd take on board what Kieran said about the ball and the depth of field of the photograph. Okay, so Kieran, if you're happy to accept our panel decision to judge at average without you, I'll proceed.
Okay.
Okay. So Robin, we're prepared to judge at average, which I've done now with Kieran's choice removed.
Great. Thanks, Matt. If you can now hit submit. The coordinates selected are 456, 627. These coordinates will now be passed to Wilkins Kennedy to calculate the winner of the competition, and they will then inform best of the best. That concludes the judging process. Thank you.